Hey, what's up, Karate Kid fans? Holy crap, we finally got an official full-blown trailer this last week, and it is jam-packed. There's so much going on in this trailer. So if you haven't seen it yet, check the link out. It's in the description. Otherwise, let's break this thing down. We start out with some of Kreese's monologue he gave at the end of the Season 1 finale. Cobra Kai's back where it belongs, back on top. We get some footage of an upset Hawk hitting the bag in the locker room while Kreese observes in the background. You can see that Hawk has a black eye, which I would guess is from one of the fights we see footage of later on in this trailer. Fade to Kreese from the end of Season 1, but the real story's only just begun. Cut to Johnny responding, "I thought you were dead." So, it's confirmed now that Johnny really did in fact believe Kreese was dead when he said that to the All Valley Committee in Season 1. I also think it's safe to presume that Season 2 will indeed pick up right where Season 1 left off, which I'm pretty excited about. Cut to an emotional Johnny attacking Kreese, and it looks like this is in response to something Kreese just said to Johnny. Kreese blocks Johnny's punch and throws him into the mirror, breaking it, very much like Miyagi did with Terry Silver in Karate Kid Part 3. So now we know how that mirror panel broke from the shot we saw in the teaser. Johnny looks up at Kreese as we hear Kreese say, "Cobra Kai never dies." Next, we get some footage of Daniel in the dojo with Robbie with some dialogue. "Ever since the tournament, all I've been thinking about are ways to destroy Cobra Kai." Cut to an exchange with his wife, "But opening your own dojo, make sure you can balance it. Balance is my thing." This plays to the notion that Daniel is going more on the offensive, using Miyagi-Do simply to take down Cobra Kai, which sounds like the opposite of what Miyagi-Do is about. But then again, this is a trailer, and a lot of this dialogue is probably taken out of context. I would guess this conversation takes place shortly before he makes the commercial that we see in the teaser. Cue up the Cruel Summer cover song over a few shots, a little dialogue from Johnny along with more footage of the Cobra Kai demo rally. We've got some new recruits, Cobras, show them what real karate looks like. We get a badass shot of Johnny punching through some concrete blocks. Fade to an exchange between Sam and Daniel. It's just an insane karate cult that's brainwashing half the school. That's why I'm opening up Miyagi-Do. So it sounds like most of the school is pro Cobra Kai. I'm guessing this scene happens not too long after the big Cobra Kai demo we saw. A little montage of Robbie and Daniel fixing up Miyagi-Do with clear Karate Kid 1 and 2 references. Quick shot of Sam joining the Miyagi-Do team. You got room for one more? Some voiceover from Daniel over some training shots. Someday the fight may come to you, and I want to make sure you're ready. We get more footage of what now looks like to be some sparring between Robbie and Sam. I'm guessing the footage we saw in the teaser happened shortly before this. A little flirtation between Sam and Robbie. It's time to see what Miyagi-Do is made of. This line sounds an awful lot like Johnny speaking to his Cobra Kai students, which I'm guessing plays into Daniel's arc a bit. A shot of some of the Miyagi-Do students. You may recognize this guy from the teaser before being kicked out of the Cobra Kai dojo by Johnny. I'm wondering if that will be part of Daniel's strategy to pull students from Cobra Kai over to Miyagi-Do. A review of the old yellow Ford convertible. Something tells me there's a can of wax in my future. Wink, wink. More training shots, including the Cobra Kai doing some sort of exercise inside a cement truck. A shot of what looks to be a Miyagi-Do demo. And I'm guessing this won't be as well received as the Cobra Kai demo, but it may pull in some of the misfits. Enter Tori. Which one of you has the balls to take on the champ? We can confirm now that it was, in fact, Tori that took down Miguel in the teaser. My name's Miguel. Tori, with a Y, not to be confused with an I like some other names. There's already been theories that Tori is Allie's daughter, and certainly this on-the-nose reference would play to that, but anything is possible. I've also heard the theory that she's Kreese's daughter, which would be interesting. My guess would be that her backstory will be revealed much later in the season, especially if either of those theories is true. I don't see them revealing that early on. We get an exchange between Kreese and Daniel at Miyagi-Do. You better hope that your soldiers are ready, to which Daniel responds, they're kids. This speaks a lot about where Kreese's mindset is at after all these years. It'll be interesting to see how much backstory we'll get to Kreese in the military. I would venture to guess we'll see a few flashbacks to Vietnam or the like. At least that's what I'm hoping. I think we'd all like to get some backstory to his character. That's something that's only been hinted at in the films. A few more shots of Robbie and Sam, and what sounds like possibly Tori asking Sam, "Do you have a crush? Is it Robbie?" More footage of Hawk in the locker room with Kreese pulling a Palpatine, instructing him, "The fight is only over when you say it is." This plays a bit into the theory that Kreese is trying to create his own darker Cobra Kai and is influencing and corrupting some of the students. He may as well have said, "Let the hate flow through you." This follows by a shot of Hawk telling someone, "Let's finish the fight." If I had to make a guess, I would say the person he's talking to is Miguel, since he's his closest friend, but it's hard to say. It could very well be someone else. You'll notice he still has his black eye, so this is post whatever fight gave him the black eye. Cut to Hawk and some Cobra Kai students going after Dimitri in what appears to be the mall, and here you can see that he doesn't have the black eye yet, so my guess is that this is the fight where he gets the black eye. We get a couple shots of Robbie in some serious trouble on the beach. This guy with the knife looks like it could be one of his old criminal buddies from season 1. I'm wondering if this takes place around one of the training scenes we've seen previously in the teaser and trailer, in which case, where is Sam? Daniel confronting Johnny in the Cobra Kai dojo. A sensei does not teach destruction and disrespect. Now, he's clearly super upset here, so I would theorize that this is in response to something the Cobra Kai students did to the Miyagi-Do dojo. Cut to Hawk attacking Miguel in the woods while we hear dialogue of Johnny telling Kreese, "We need to talk about what you've been putting into my kids' heads." We see a reaction shot of Johnny not looking too pleased. This could have been taken out of context, though, so it's hard to know if he's reacting to Hawk and Miguel or something else. This also answers the question of if Johnny is with everyone in these scenes in the woods. Remember that in the teaser, we only saw the students and Kreese. Kreese responds, "Same lessons I taught you," during which we see more footage of the mall fight, which now includes Robbie and Sam. This kick Robbie gives to Hawk could very well be what gave him the black eye, and I would venture to guess that when Hawk says, "Let's finish the fight," he's referring to this fight in the mall. Cut to a shot of Tori looking like she's about to nail Sam with some spiked knuckles at school. Quick montage of more training shots, Johnny on the beach drinking and reflecting, more footage of the school fight between Sam and Tori. We hear what sounds like Miguel saying, "This isn't a tournament, this is real life," very much like Miyagi telling Daniel in Karate Kid Part 2, followed by Tori putting on her knuckle spikes saying, "There are no rules," so this is a bit earlier in the fight than what we previously saw. Johnny with Miguel in the woods, "That's not how I taught you to fight." This could be in reference to the fight or sparring between Miguel and Hawk, but he could also be referring to the kid in camo we saw in the teaser getting kicked by Tori. We get a sequence of shots of Robbie and Miguel potentially running towards each other at school. I say potentially because both of these shots could be taken out of context, and they could be simply running towards something else, especially since we never see them in the same shot. I'm wondering if they're running after Tori and Sam during or after their big fight. There's a quick montage of shots. First, Daniel coming to Robbie and possibly Sam's aid on the beach. Johnny decking a guy inside a bar. Even more footage of Tori and Sam fighting in school. This footage must be pretty early in the fight, judging by where they are and the fact that Tori doesn't have her knuckle spikes on yet. A Cobra Kai student getting kicked by one of the Miyagi-Do students. Miguel backfisting the same kid in camo we saw Tori kick in the teaser. Again, I think this sequence is what provokes Johnny to talk to Miguel. And finally, we get a glimpse at the long-awaited fight between Johnny and Daniel. You want to finish this? Bring it on. Looks like Johnny takes Daniel pretty good with the side thrust kick. I'm guessing this is inside Johnny's apartment, but I'm not 100% sure. It's very tough to tell here. And that's the end of the trailer. Holy smokes, there is so much going on in that trailer and so much to digest. Just a few of the general impressions I got from watching this trailer, off script of course, is just first off, how dark this trailer is. I mean, they really paint this shadowy, dark tone over the entire season, and it'll be really interesting to see if that's exactly how it plays out, because this looks to be way darker than season 1, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I was very surprised at how dark this trailer was, and it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. I think they're really trying to up the stakes here. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. But that was an instant reaction that I had was, wow, is this trailer dark? So yeah, they've got that going. This whole Tori versus Sam school fight is something that they really, really push in this trailer. In fact, we see a ton of footage of that fight, and it looks like it's a long fight because there's footage, taking place throughout the school. So I'm not sure where that's going to happen, if it's going to be early, mid, or late season. But all I can say is that, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, I hope that that's not the only reason why the whole Tori character was brought on the show, or written in just to be Sam's nemesis, because that's been done to death. The whole girl versus girl thing. So hopefully that, and these are great, great writers, obviously. So I'm hoping that that's not the case here. That Tori was just brought on to be Sam's nemesis. Um, so those are my thoughts. But I am looking forward to seeing that fight. It looks pretty darn intense. Speaking of fights, we get that big tease at the end for Johnny versus Daniel and their fight, and I'm super excited about that fight. I think we've all been waiting for that, but at the same time, I would venture to guess that that fight will probably happen at least an episode before the finale, mostly because I think that's going to stem from a bunch of confusion that both of them have, and afterwards is, in my perfect world, is where they decide that they're going to team up. That fight has to happen first, and so I'm going to guess that that is not, the climactic moment of the entire season. I think that's going to happen, at least one or two episodes before the finale, but I'm super excited about that. I'm going to be very interested about the different character arcs. I feel like the trailer just kind of brushed past those, and you can't really fault them for that because you're talking about, you know 10 episodes, a 5 hour movie more or less, and condensed into 2 minutes. So it's very, very difficult to illustrate character arcs. But with that said, I'm going to be very interested about the different character arcs, and I hope we get just as much development as we did in the first season. Just right off the bat, you've got Johnny, and obviously he more or less gets persuaded by Kreese to team up. But throughout this trailer, it looks like he may lose a couple of students that have been kind of corrupted by Kreese. So I'm hoping that by the end of the season, maybe he's going to go to Daniel for help. Obviously, they get into a scuffle, but I don't think that's where things are going to end up, leave off. I think that Johnny's going to need some help. And then Daniel, of course, as the trailer shows, seems like he's all hell bent on taking down Cobra Kai right at the beginning of the season, and kind of going on this offense of taking them out, which is kind of backwards from Miyagi Do and his character. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. I also think that he's going to blame Johnny for Kreese, and kind of for the things that Kreese is doing. And so maybe there's some confusion there, and especially if Kreese is kind of poisoning and corrupting these students, and making them way worse than Johnny's students. I think maybe there's going to be some confusion there, and Daniel's not going to realize exactly what's going on. So again, I think that near the end of the season, that whole arc, I think once he realizes what's going on, and Johnny does, I think maybe they will team up. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm always hopeful there will be a little bit of a team up. Clearly, we get a fight between the two of them, and that's something that everyone's kind of wanted. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Daniel. Kreese, now, he's kind of a giant question mark as far as I'm concerned. There have been tons of interviews, and you can find them, they're all over YouTube, with Martin Kove, and he's talking about his character Kreese, and he's really been alluding to that character being very three-dimensional, kind of in a gray area where sometimes you like the guy or agree with him, and sometimes you don't, which is what you want in a character. But in this trailer, he just looks 100% evil, like black and white evil, Darth Vader, whatever you want to call him. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I want to see a good arc for Kreese. I want to see backstory. Why is he the way he is? Everyone's got theories, and Martin Kove has talked about that a little bit, but I want to see it in the series. I want to see a good story arc, and maybe he does have some redeeming qualities, or maybe he's got something entirely different going on from the trailer that we just don't know yet. Maybe he's got a different agenda. But I want to see more of that. He's kind of the wild card, and I'm excited about that. But I don't want to see the same Kreese we've seen before. I don't want to see just a guy that's just, I'm just evil, a cartoon character. So I'm really excited about having that character in the series, but I want to see some serious development, and I think we'll get that. Going to the kids now, going away from the old school characters. So let's talk about Sam. Clearly, she's joining Miyagi Do. Looks like she may be falling in love with Robbie. Does she have any interest in Miguel anymore? Is he redeeming himself, or is Miguel trying to get back with her? Kind of like Johnny tried to get back with Allie in Karate Kid 1. There's kind of a parallel story going there. Or is she just completely done with Miguel? Is Sam now Tori's nemesis? I know in the trailer they were really pushing that fight between the two of them, but I hope that's not going to be their relationship this entire season. It seems just too predictable and done to death. In fact, I mean, is that really the reason? Hopefully not. Why they brought the Tori character on, so that they can have a girl versus girl battle and relationship. It just seems too done to death. And especially, Tori isn't the only girl in the series. You forget that there's Aisha as well. So there's got to be a good reason that they brought Tori in, other than just to be Sam's nemesis. At least that's what I'm hoping. So Robbie, he's obviously 100% Miyagi-Do. Has he truly forgiven his dad? What's his relationship like with Johnny? Does he confront his dad at all? What's their relationship like? That's kind of what I'm most excited about in terms of Robbie. What's his relationship like with Johnny going to be this season, and how is that going to possibly change throughout the season? At the end of season 1, he kind of forgave his dad, but then he left with Daniel to go train. So it'll be really interesting to see the season, how they interact with each other, if they interact, and how that's going to play out. I'm hoping that if Johnny does in fact need some help in terms of the whole Kreese wild card, he may go to Daniel, but maybe Robbie will talk some sense into him. That would be very legit in my mind, and realistic. You listen to your son, he's family, so maybe he'll be some of that inspiration, hopefully. Moving on, Miguel. So he's still Cobra Kai, it looks like, but throughout the trailer, I kind of get this impression that he's confused, and that may come down to the difference between Kreese and Johnny. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. I think Miguel is going to be pro Johnny and be loyal to him, but it's hard to say, and that's assuming that there's going to be this divergence between Kreese and Johnny. One thing in the trailer that we did not see is we did not see Miguel involved with that mall brawl, with that big fight at the mall, and so that may play into this whole arc of Miguel perhaps redeeming himself. I hope that's the case, and I know that Johnny's very attached to Miguel, so I think Miguel will play a big role in Johnny's arc throughout the season. At least I hope so, because Miguel is his first student. He's kind of like a second son to Johnny. And so if he sees things going wrong with Miguel that are influenced by Kreese, I think that's going to really tip him a little bit. Anyway, so that's Miguel. Let's talk briefly about Tori. Now, obviously, she's a new character this season, so there's not a ton that you can really say about her. And judging by the trailer and the teaser, she looks very one-dimensional, I have to admit. That we only see really footage of her fighting, not a whole lot of anything else. And so it's hard to know, like, when she first comes into the season, is she just going to be a brat? She looks very rough around the edges. Maybe she's had a tough upbringing, but it looks like she's totally pro Kreese. We don't really see any shots of her not looking evil or doing anything that's, in line with that. So are we going to see any redemption to her character by the end of the season, and get any backstory? And again, if we do get any backstory that plays out to any of these theories about her potentially being Allie's daughter or Kreese's daughter, I have to say, I don't believe she's Kreese's daughter. He's too old. Okay. Maybe she's related in some sense, but the only theory I could potentially see would be her being Allie's daughter. And if that's the case, I don't think they're going to reveal that until possibly even the end of the season. So, anyways, not a whole lot to say about Tori. She from what we've seen in the trailer, she just looks like a bully, like a pro crease mentality. So that's Tori. Hawk, speaking of pro crease, looks like he totally buys into the crease Kool-Aid this season. Looks like he's now a full-on bully, which is funny because if you look at season one, he was very, very, very much on the other end of that. So he's kind of come full circle. It looks like turned to the dark side, if you will. But who knows? Maybe Miguel or Johnny or both of them will be able to talk some sense into him by the end of the season because it looks like he kind of goes off the beaten path fairly early on. And then lastly, Aisha, we don't see a whole lot of her. We see some shots of her. So obviously she's in the season and in the sneak peek, the one at the dojo, she does have a few lines of dialogue, but we don't really see anything of her in this trailer. So it's kind of a question mark. I'm really curious about where she's going to fall into this and where her loyalty is going to lie and what her character is going to do this season, how that's going to change. So I'm really curious about Aisha. She's a big question mark, and I like her character a lot. So hopefully we get a lot of that this season. Well, that about does it. I rambled way longer than I intended to, so I apologize for the length of this video, but I just want to say thanks for watching and thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully you found some of it a little bit interesting, but be sure to post a comment below about what your thoughts are on the trailer and the entire season 2 of Cobra Kai. I'd be very interested in reading about it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.